Hello and welcome to this video in the MS Excel course by White Knight Ventures. In this video, we will be learning how to use two of the most important functions in Excel. These are the VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP functions. Both these functions are used to look up a certain value in a given data set. VLOOKUP or vertical lookup looks up the specified item in the leftmost column of a table, and when it has found that item in the leftmost column, it will give data corresponding to that item in the column number specified by the user. This will be easier to understand with the help of an example. In this case, say you want to find the data for a specific participant in this table. Once you specify the name of the participant, VLOOKUP function will look for that name in the leftmost column of the table. And then once it has located the name, it can give you any data you want for that participant. It can give you the participant's age, the city from which they participated in the marathon, and the total distance they ran. To get the participant's age, you will need to tell the function to give data from column 2. If you want the participant's city, you will need to tell the function to give data from column 3. And if you want the total distance ran by the participant, you will need to tell the function to give the data from column 4. However, for VLOOKUP function to work properly, you need to make sure that the value you want the function to look up should be present in the leftmost column of the table. The function will not be able to look up the value if this is not the case. That is why here, when we're looking up the participants by their names, we have ensured that their names are present in the leftmost column of this table. Let us now see how we can use the VLOOKUP function to determine the distance ran by Sonia. We will type the name of the function is equal to VLOOKUP. The value we want to look up is the participant's name, which is present in cell H8. Second argument is the table array in which we want to look for her name. This is the table. Third is the column index number, that is the column from which we want the data corresponding to Sonia. Now here we want to look for the distance she ran, and that is present in the fourth column of this table. So we will write 4. And since we want an exact match, that is, we want to exactly look up the name Sonia, the fourth argument will be false. There you go. We get that the distance ran by Sonia is 6 kilometers. We can manually check in the table by locating Sonia in the first column. We see that here she is. And we can see that yes, she ran 6 kilometers. Similarly, we can find the distance ran by Aditya by looking up his name in this table. And since the distance ran is present in column 4, we will specify column 4. And we want an exact match. And here you go. We get the distance ran by Aditya. We can drag this formula down, but for that, we will need to first freeze certain cells. We will freeze the column number, and we can freeze the entire table over which we are searching, as we do not want this to move one row down when we drag the formula one row down. However, we're not freezing the row number here, as when we copy this formula to the next row, we want the H9 to become H10, that is, look up the value Karan in this table, which is still in the same set of cells that we referred to earlier. There you go. We now have the distance ran by Karan. Let us now say we want to know ages of the participants. Firstly, we want to know Yash's age. Let us see what happens if we just copy the formula down. On doing this, we see that we're still getting the distance covered by Yash as opposed to his age. That's because the VLOOKUP function, once it finds Yash in this column, it still is providing data corresponding to his name in the fourth column, which is the distance ran. Since we want his age, we can change the column number to 2, as that is where the ages of the participants are. There we go. We find Yash's age. In a similar way, by copying and dragging the formula down, we can find Sanvi's age and Raghav's age. Now let us say we want to find the city from which the participants are. We want to know the city from which Vedant participated in the marathon. Since this is present in the third column of the table, we will change the column index number to 3. There you go. We find that Vedant participated in the marathon from Mumbai. Dragging this formula down, we can find that Supriya participated in the marathon from Delhi and Arjun participated in the marathon again from Mumbai. This is how the VLOOKUP function works. Let us now see how the HLOOKUP function works. HLOOKUP, or horizontal lookup, looks up the specific item in the top row of the table, and when it has found that item in the top row, it will give data corresponding to that item in the row number that the user specifies. Let us understand this with the help of an example. Say now that this data was given to us in this format. That is, instead of the data headings being in different columns, they were in different rows. In this case, say you want to find data for a specific participant. Once you specify the name of that participant, HLOOKUP will look for that name in the topmost row of the table. And then, once it has located the name, it can give you any data you want for that participant. It can give you the participant's age, the city from which they participated in the marathon, and the total distance they ran. To get the participant's age, you will need to tell the function to give data from row 2. To get the participant's city, you will need to tell the function to give data from row 3. And if you want to know the distance covered by the participant, you will need to tell the function to give data from row 4. For HLOOKUP function to work properly, you need to make sure that the value you want the function to look up should be present in the topmost row of the table. The function will not be able to work if this is not the case. Here, we're looking up the names of the participants, and hence we have made sure that the names are present in the topmost row of the table in which we are looking up. Let us now see how HLOOKUP works. We will type the name of the function, that is HLOOKUP, the value that we want to look up, which is the name of the participants, which is present in cell P9, the table over which we want the function to look up the name, which is this table, the row number from which we want the data corresponding to the participant's name. Since we want the distance ran, that is present in the fourth row, hence we write 4. And because we want an exact match, we write false. There you go. We get to know that the distance ran by Sonia is 6 kilometers, as we can also manually check from the table. Again, we will freeze the relevant cells so that we can drag the same formula down instead of having to type it out again. We will freeze the entire table over which we are searching the data. And that's it. Let's not freeze P9 for now. When we copy this formula and paste this in the cell below, we see that now the function looks up P10, which is Aditya, in the same table in the fourth row. And hence we get the distance covered by Aditya. Simply dragging this formula down, we get the distance covered by Karan. Now, when we were freezing the cells, we obviously could not have frozen the row as we wanted to drag the formula down and hence wanted the row to change. We could have frozen the column. However, we did not do that, so that now we can copy this formula and use it again here. Now it is looking up cell T9 over the same table as we want. However, because we want the age of the participant, we wanted to look for the data in row 2 instead of row 4. There you go. We can drag this formula down and we get the ages of all the participants. Again, we can copy this formula and paste it here. But now, because we want to look for the participant's city, we wanted to give the data from row 3. There you go. Copying and pasting the formula down, we get the city names for all the participants. So this is how the lookup functions work. This is it for this video. Thank you.